Hi, guys. This is Andrew Holmes from Chicago RIA and Andrew Holmes TV. And I'm really excited because this is kind of the first step into the journey, which we called Hooked on Success. I wanted to start with the first kind of step in this process, and that was, where do you start? If you're somebody that is brand new, if you're somebody that is an experienced investor, or if you're somebody that is a pro. And especially, I'm talking to you if you're somebody that is a pro. See, when you have done 5, 6, 7, 10, maybe 20 or 30 or 40 transactions, I'm going to ask you to maybe pay a little bit more attention to this recording, because just maybe somewhere, some of the processes that I went through in my life may make some sense. Because what we notice is, with a lot of pros that are in real estate, when we're new, we're open to ideas. When we are growing, we're open to ideas. But yet, mentally, when we get to a certain amount of success, what starts happening is our attitude becomes, oh my God, I already know. What is this guy going to teach me that I don't know? And maybe I won't share anything that is new. But I think sometimes what happens is, we're reminded of things that we know deep down inside, yet we're not doing those. So for me, the goal with this recording is to think about, where do you start? Number two is, if I had to do it all over again for tomorrow, for some reason, if I had to do it all over again, knowing what I know today about investing, about real estate, what would the steps be? Clearly, there'll be a lot of things I would not do. And then there were a lot of things that I would do, and I would be much more deliberate and efficient in getting those things done. And the third thing is this, and this was a topic which I would have wanted to look at, or I would have definitely picked up this book. It was called From Zero to 15 or 20 million in Net Wealth. How do you do it, and how do you do it quickly or overnight, right? Because there's a little boy or a little girl in all of us that wants to figure out that one ninja technique, that one thing that kind of will level the playing field, because we all want that. And if you know me, or if you know where we are with our business today, with over 200 plus rentals, with 950 transactions done right here in the Chicagoland area, with the #1 RIA in the country, and a lot of seminars, events that we do. I have the cars, from the plane to a bunch of houses, which at one time, if I was looking at me at the age of 18, 19, 20, 21, heck, 25 or 30, I would have called myself a success at this point. Yet, that's not success. That's just the rewards or the ability that money allows you to do. I want to kind of talk about a journey, which I struggled with a lot at the age of about 18 or 19, as I got to college, till the age of 24. I'm not sure where you were. Maybe you had gotten your first job. Maybe you had graduated from college. I know I was struggling. I was trying to find myself, not because I was drinking things or smoking things, but I was trying to find myself in terms of an entrepreneur. To me, there are kind of two types of individuals, or three, I should say. One is that individual who just has no idea what they want to do and really never even get started. There's the second individual, who is somebody like me, is an entrepreneur at heart, but is totally lost, because the problem is, people like me don't live in reality. We live in this world called Disneyland or La La Land, where we have a lot of fantasies and a lot of ideas, yet we don't know how to put it into practice. And then we have the third category of people, who I would call realists or busy professionals. They have a job. They understand that to succeed, you need to maintain and build upon a job foundation. And if I was to say that the entrepreneur types, which are people like me, would be the most successful, I'm going to tell you that the people who are the entrepreneur types, people who have great big ideas, guys, listen, less than 0.0001% actually succeed. The people who you see, the people who we know as the super examples of success, that's a very small part of our society. The reason I say that and the reason I want to talk to them first is because having great ideas, great thoughts, having fantasies of being super successful, there's nothing wrong with it. Clearly, if you believe in God, if you believe in a creator, these ideas were put in you. The challenge is this: it needs to somewhere be tempered with reality. It needs to be tempered with what is specifically that I can do in real estate in terms of any dream or any fantasy or any goal that you have, be it becoming a basketball player or be it becoming a surgeon. But do you have the physiological characteristics? Do you have the abilities that can get you there? A lot of times people who are entrepreneurs or want to be entrepreneurs, they are so void of reality that they spend their entire life going from thing to thing to thing, just never sticking with anything long enough. See, for me, 19 to about 24 was confused at best. I went to probably more libraries than I can think of because I was trying to find the answers in business books. At the time, I could not go on YouTube. There was no YouTube. I couldn't find the answers, so library was the only place, and I tried to meet what I thought were successful people. At that time, success to me was anybody who has a decently nice car, anybody who has a decently big house, to me was success. And I was dazed and confused at best. And I wanted to start investing in real estate. And yet the people I would look up to at that time in my life were the so-called gurus. So what is the difference between a business person and a guru? And this is kind of the first thing. If you're writing notes, if you're listening in the car, please go back and listen to this section. Because the difference between a guru versus a person who runs a business, and it took me years to figure this out. A guru is somebody who says, do as I say and not as I do. A business person is somebody who runs a business that you can verify, check their success, and then that is the person you want to emulate. But what happens in real estate to most of us? Who are the people who typically are in front of us? They're not business people. Invariably, they're gurus who haven't done what they preach for the last 5, 10, 15, 20 years. In fact, I would challenge you to do some research because most people who claim to be real estate experts, and this is where I got lost, who claim to be real estate experts and who claim to have an idea of what they're talking about when it comes to investing, had never done a deal or had never succeeded. In fact, a lot of them, when they had bankruptcies, went through hard times, they came up with concepts of investing. And then they were talking to people like me. And we see this happening all the time. My challenge was this: if you go from zero to having wealth, what my challenge was, how do I figure out a step-by-step process? Our goal with Hooked on Success is to lay out those steps in a manner that you can take the roadmap that we have laid out for you and you can follow that step-by-step success. And let me define what success to me is. So success is not having a fancy car. Success is not living in a big house. Success is not getting a bunch of money from your parents and bumbling your way through real estate. Success is a progressive realization of a worthwhile goal or an idea. So what I mean by that? What I mean by that is this: that doesn't really matter where you start. If you start with zero, or if you start with 100,000, or if you start with 200,000, the success is going to be different for each person depending on where you start. And success as it relates to me in real estate is, success is if every single month you need $8,000 to live on. Success in real estate is if you have 10,000 coming in every single month without you running on the treadmill. So what do I mean by treadmill? Flipping properties is success, yet not in my book. And why do I say that? See, flipping versus being a plumber, being an electrician, or being a doctor, or being a surgeon or a teacher. What is the difference? Every single one of those individuals trades their time for a paycheck, for a commission, for making a living. So if you're doing flips, you're a successful flipper. You may be a successful wholesaler. Yet, what you don't have is success to me is two things. Having net cash flow every single month to cover all your expenses. Secondly, having the time to do what you want, when you want, with whom you want, without you keeping running on the treadmill all the time. Guys, there are two types of people. People who run on a treadmill, and the second type of person is person who runs on the treadmill for you. See, when you're doing flips, and you may do 10, 15, 20 flips, and please don't get offended when I say this, but just understand, you're a purebred athlete that has a very fancy treadmill called lots of big flips or lots of flips, and you're running on it, and you may consider yourself a world-class elite athlete. There's nothing wrong with it. My question to you is this. See, even if you're the best runner in the world, you enjoy the glory, you enjoy the first prize when you're number one in the Olympics. Let me ask you this. At most, how many Olympics do you think you're going to run in? Maybe you'll run in one. At the most, two. How many people in the world can stay at the top of that game? Very few. See, what would be really nice is if you owned the stadium where you were doing the running. So not only would you enjoy the glory of being the top athlete, of being the top flipper, of being the top wholesaler, and making a ton of money, but you know what would be great is every single athlete and all the people who pay the fare to come and watch everybody else run. You have that stadium is your treadmill that you own, which other people pay for. That analogy as it relates to real estate is doing wholesales versus doing flips versus owning paid off rental properties. See, for me, from age of 19 to 24, I was dazed and confused. I could barely figure out how to make a living because at the age of 19 years old, when I should have been finishing college, I quit. If I had to do it over again, I would do it differently. And a lot of times people will say, well, Andrew, it's worked out for you. It has. But it has worked out despite me not making the right choices. Because what happened was at the age when most of my friends had a decent job by the age of 22, 23, I was still struggling to barely make a living. It took till the age of 24 where I could figure out how to sell real estate enough so I could actually not worry about what if I had a flat tire, not worry about where the next week's groceries were going to come from, be able to make rent and make it on time. See, from 24 till the age of about 32, each year I was doing better, but by the age of 27 and 28, what I figured out was this, that life was not going to change for me because what was happening was each year, every single day, I had to wake up motivated. And I'm all for motivation. I'm all for listening to great quality recordings. Hopefully you're enjoying the one today. But what happens with motivation is this, that when you keep doing the same thing over and over and over, and when you have nothing to show for it at the end of each year. See, each year I was selling more houses at the age of 24 or 25 and 26 and 27 and 28 and at 30. And my challenge was at the end of each year, my sales would go back to zero because the clock gets reset. How's that any different from my parents who were doctors? And me telling them at the age of 15 or 16, one day I'm going to show you how money is really made. What I should have told them was, one day I'm going to show you how wealth is really built. They knew how to make money. Both of them happen to be surgeons. And both of them know they're purebred athletes at the age of 75 and 74. Still, they're running on a treadmill called surgeries, 20, 25, 30 surgeries a week before both my parents. And nothing wrong with it. They're passionate about it. They love doing that. But my question is this. For the amount of years that they have worked, do they have enough rewards to show for it? And I know somebody's going to say, Andrew, it's not all about money. And I agree 100%. It's not all about money. See, what it's about is wealth. because what it does is it gives you options to enjoy it or give it away. It gives you options to enjoy it or help somebody. See, it's not all about money, because with money, you can't buy health. You can't buy sanity. You can't buy people who love you and care about you. But with money, you can certainly take care of the people who love you and take care of you. People who, if you have a health issue, you can take care of money. My challenge with this whole recording and the entire series is this: that are you in real estate because you want to be a purebred athlete that runs on a treadmill? Or would you want to use real estate in terms of building wealth? See, by the age of about 32 years old, I had become sick and tired of selling real estate and helping my clients build wealth. Because it's not that I resented them. At some point, I don't know about you, but I had figured out that enough was enough. And what I mean is that for me to keep running on a treadmill, to keep putting other people in beautiful homes, and for other people to own investment properties, at some point, I wanted to try it for myself. And a lot of times when we start investing, what happens is we don't know what we don't know. See, I started doing flips at the age of 32 years old. This is in 2008. And I thought I was investing. And yet at the age of 32, 33, and 34, I thought doing flips was investing, until at the end of about 33 years old, I realized I was nothing more than a glorified real estate agent. Now, not only was I stuck with selling the house, but buying the property, getting it fixed up, taking all the financial burden, and then reselling it as a trader for a profit. See, I thought I was changing the treadmills that I was on. I was on the treadmill of selling real estate, and I jumped on another treadmill, which is called doing flips or doing wholesales. Not that treadmill wasn't lucrative, not that you couldn't make a lot of money. Guys, 2008, my first year in doing flips, it was a lot of work, a lot of sleepless nights, and a lot of headache, but literally with a $25,000 investment out of pocket and another $25,000 that I borrowed from a friend of mine. For the two of us that year, I was able to net out about $280,000. Now, I'd like to say it's a lot of money. Yes, it does sound like a lot of money, but think about it. That was not just my money. It was 280. Half of it I owed to him. I had not made a dime doing any other real estate activity except doing flips. So even though I made a good amount of money, in relation of things, that year I had no other income. So instead of earning money as a real estate agent, what had I done? I had replaced my income from doing flips in 2008. 2009, I thought I was going to be even better. I was going to be more positive. I was going to wake up earlier. And I was really going to go for it. See, from 10 flips, the next year I did 30 flips. What is the difference between doing a flip versus doing wholesales? In fact, with wholesales, I would have done less work. Now you'd say, well, Andrew, you make more money. It's true. I did make more money. In fact, to the tune of close to about $500,000. The challenge is this. At the end of the year again, I had no security because I had to go to work in 2010. See, what it took me was sometimes you have to be abused enough for you to realize that the actions that I'm taking, even though I think I'm doing the right thing, are sheer insanity. See, just as I didn't like to look at real estate agents who would walk in the office at 40, 50, 60 years old, and I had more respect for them than anybody, because to be in that profession for that long and yet have no substantial, any savings, forget about wealth, to show for it. How's that any different from a person who has done 30, 40, 50, or 60 flips? See, a lot of times today, people will try to say, well, Andrew, I have a nice house. So let me ask you something. You're 55 years old. You have a house maybe worth 600,000. Should you be proud of it? Absolutely. But if you have $300,000-400,000 in debt on the house, savings of maybe $100,000, what is your net worth? See, your net worth is your assets minus your liabilities. So let's say you have a couple $100,000 equity in your property. You have another couple $100,000 liquid. So at 55 years old, your net worth is $400,000. See, that's one surgery away from a major catastrophe in your life. It's, at today's education, cost of education, that's barely enough to get a couple of kids through college. Forget about if your kid goes through medical school. You realize if your kid goes to medical school or law school, that he would walk out with a debt of about $500,000 to $700,000 if he went to a certain school? My question is this, that what I was sick of was I was sick of looking at people that had worked all their life and had worked hard, had tried to be positive, had tried to raise a family, and yet had nothing significant to show for it. See, our challenge with the series is not look what I have been able to accomplish. Our challenge with this series is look what you can accomplish. And at the age of about 35 years old is the first time, this is in 2011, when I was able to take the resources from doing flips, the resources from wholesaling. I was able to take some of those resources and I was able to start buying rental properties. And guys, here's the proudest moment that I have, is not with the amount of properties that I own. It's with the amount of properties that people at Chicago REIA own. Let me give you a statistic. We have a group of about 400 people that have over 12 properties per person. That's over 5,000 houses that have not just, they don't have just, see, some people will count their wealth in the size of the house that they live in. So let me repeat that. Some people will count their wealth in the size of the house that they live in. Others count their wealth in the number of houses other people live in. What I'm trying to say is this, is are you better off living in a big fancy house by yourself? It's in Texas, they call it big hat and no cattle. See, there are some people who are big hat and no cattle. And there are some farmers who have a lot of cattle and they may not barely have a hat. See, I realized that initially what I always used to chase was a pot of gold. And then what I realized was, guys, there is no pot of gold. What our job as investors, what our job as for you, if you're listening to this entire series, I hope we're communicating that what your job is to build wealth for you and for your family. Our goal with this recording is not, again, to show you, look what I have done. What my goal with this recording and with all the people that we're going to bring to you is look what is possible with real estate. Real estate is just a tool. It's just a medium to take you from where you are to where you want to go. And as I wrap up, I want to define some principles in terms of some exact numbers in terms of what is possible and how long will it take. Because we said that if you do have a get-rich-quick formula, please, if it's legal, if it's ethical, and if it's moral, look us up. We would be very, very interested, and so would the rest of the universe. See, I don't know of a legal, ethical, and moral formula that's just get rich quick overnight. And we all know that, yet there's a little boy, a little girl in all of us that, looks at a car, right? Looks at a Ferrari and goes, oh my God, that's what I want. And there's nothing wrong you wanting something. All of us deserve nice things. For some, it's vacations. For some, it's time with their family. For some, it's toys. And all of that is okay. Yet understand that if you're going to do anything in life, it's going to require a price. It's going to require some time. It's going to require some stress. And it's going to take you're going to pay a price somewhere. Either you're going to pay it today or you're going to pay it in the future. But believe me, life will require a price out of you. So let's put some timelines to what is possible with real estate. See, if you do flips or if you do wholesales, is it possible in year one for you to make $100,000? The simple answer is yes. But there is a caveat. Is it likely that you're going to make a net $100,000? It's not very likely that you're going to make $100,000. And see, you're going to say, but Andrew, you're just being pessimistic. Guys, I'm not being pessimistic. I'm just being realistic. Because does that mean that nobody can do it? That's not what I said. I did way more than that. And you can do way more than that. Just understand, I would much rather you do 30 year one, 60 year two, and 400 the year three, rather than try to hit for 100 and fail and lose a lot of money. On rentals, year one, is it possible to buy 2 to 3 to 4 rentals year one? It's 100% possible. You say, Andrew, that makes no sense. You mean I can barely manage to make $100,000 from flip and from wholesales and do more rentals that year? Yes. Why? Because with rentals, they tend to be a lot more forgiving. Even if something goes wrong, the margin of error is not quite as harsh on you in terms of building wealth, which is with flips and with wholesale properties. Year two, is it possible to go from $100,000 to doing 150 to 200 net with flips? Is it possible? Yes. Is it likely? No. Reality of the situation is most flippers in the United States, 80% of the people who do flips in the United States, they barely manage to make any money. There's a very few, relatively handful percentage of people that'll make 150 to 200,000 doing flips or doing wholesales. And when I say that, I don't mean people or the gurus who claim what they do. What I don't believe in real estate is people who claim a lot. I claim sometimes to be 5'7". I'm a midget at best. At 5'5", you're vertically challenged, right? What I'm trying to say is this, that just because somebody claims something doesn't mean that is the reality. But yet in year two, can you go from 4 houses to 8 on rental properties? Yes. See, in year 3, can you get to 250 or 300,000 doing flips? You can. Is it very likely? Probably not. Can you make $200,000 or $300,000 with wholesales? Yes. But it would be as rare as finding a diamond walking down the road to meet somebody who truly makes that kind of money with wholesales. Now, that doesn't mean somebody does not exist. We have a bunch of people that are rare breeds at Chicago REIA, but that is not the norm. Much easier to be at 10, 12, 15 properties by year 3 with rentals. What I'm trying to say is this, that had I known at the age of 19, at the age of 20, at the age of 22, 24, 26, 28, that I could get to $1 million in wealth a lot quicker with rental properties than I could by running on a treadmill. See, my thought for years, till the age of about 35, was that I'm going to figure out something to do in life where I'm going to run so hard that every year I'm going to have $500,000 or $1 million saved. Guys, you realize how many people in the United States make $500,000 or $1 million a year? It's not very much. And how many actually save that kind of money? See, yet on the other hand, there are millions of people who every year buy investment properties, and over a 2 or 3 year period, they become multi-millionaires. See, for me to go from literally almost no net worth to a 15 or 20 million bucks in net equity in properties, it was impossible to do with anything else. I have virtually no other talents except to figure out values in real estate. except to figure out how to get some rehabs done and be able to put tenants into the properties that every single day go to work so that I don't have to. See, there are two types of people. People who run on a treadmill and other people who have other people, i.e. their tenants, run on the treadmills for them. My question to you is, who are you? I hope this recording has provoked some thoughts, some ideas, and maybe some sort of an introspection in you. That's our goal from Hooked on Success. There's a lot of great recordings that will be coming soon, and I hope you keep joining us. Share this on Facebook, on Instagram, on any other social media, because we need your help to grow the community of real estate, and not just real estate, but successful real estate investors. This is Andrew. Thank you. Have a great day.